Hi, welcome back to another episode of the Boutiqueland Digest. I'm excited you're here. I've been missing for a little bit, but I've been doing a lot behind the scenes. So I'm excited to tell you everything I've been hearing, all the updates, all the insider stuff that you always want to hear from me. So make sure you stay to the end of the episode to hear like all my tips, all my tricks, all the resources. I know I've been hearing from so many of you that you've been watching my channel, listening to everything, and you need more. So we're going to kind of go off script this episode and I'm going to lean into some segments. So let's jump right in. My first segment I'm calling Overheard in Boutiqueland. All right, like I said, I'm on the phone with a lot of people lately, clients, new people to my world, podcast listeners. Like we have been on the phone a lot and it's been really good because I've heard a lot of great things. Number one, just news from retail land. Many companies, especially companies like QVC, HSN, they sell units. Okay. They move through a lot of units on their home shopping network. We all know you guys love to do a live stream and be in a place where you're doing your own QVC style stuff, but they are investing heavily in the over 50 crowd, which obviously, like, this is the customer that cares so much about themselves, about where they are in life. They're like approaching a different stage and they want to look and feel good and move into this other part of their life, like feeling good. So it also spans across the board with wellness, beauty, spa, all of it. Okay. Any way to take care of yourself is going to be a profitable thing over the next few years. I've heard a lot of people too. And again, I want to just address the I feel like also I jumped over the elephant in the room, which is like the US is going through some stuff. I'm not going to deny it. There's some things going on. We're seeing tariffs still at play. We're seeing import export things. I know if you're in farming or oil or gas or aid or you live around DC, like there's a lot going on. So I don't want to ignore that. And I also want to remind you that amidst everything going on in the world, we are still allowed to have businesses. We should still be making money. We should still be giving our money to people, causes, places that we care about. Remember, the more financial freedom we have, the more we're able to invest in the things that we love and the things that we want to help or give charity to. Okay. So I've had a lot of people coming to me saying, should I expand online? Should I open another store? Are other boutiques like doing well? What's the general flavor out there? I want to put it into perspective in two ways. One, do I have clients and people in my Boutiqueland world that are doing 6-figure months? Yes. 5-figure months? Yes. Are there also people in Boutiqueland who I know who are flat to last year, who are down 10% to last year, who are up 2% to last year? Yeah, a lot. And I think that that's okay. I want to remind you, yes, would it be great to grow 15% every year, 10%, whatever the number is? Sure. There's also strength in stability. And there's strength in your business when you can make it more predictable. You can expect the outcome to be what you think it's going to be. And I want to encourage you to get to a place where you feel like things are predictable. So I've had a couple of situations come to me, like I said, where someone either wants to expand online or maybe a brick and mortar store. I've also had people want to buy stores. There's stores for sale. We're seeing actually like a lot of generational, like sort of turnover of stores, which is pretty great. You know, I think it's a really good opportunity to buy a store sometimes. I think it has to work on your terms. And I think that, is there always that thought of, could I start new? Yes, you could start new. But I also want to remind you, if you're in the position of buying a store or you're thinking about buying a store, remember two things, okay? One is that the owner of the store is always going to value it more than anybody else. They have the emotional attachment to it. I mean, you know, if you have a store right now, you know that you feel attached to your store. From the store owner perspective of someone who wants to sell, just remember, like, you do have that emotion in it and you have to separate it yourself and say, if I really want my business to continue, what am I willing to sacrifice from either like an ego-driven standpoint or just a financial-driven standpoint, right? Maybe you work in some revenue sharing deals. Maybe there's opportunity for you to stay on working at like a higher salary than everyone, maybe as like a assistant creative director, something like that. Buying a store, selling a store is an amazing option, but there's a lot to think through. And I think it's important for you to consider, do you want to start over from scratch and start at zero? Or do you want to start with some sales already in the bank, the reputation already there, right? What could you just improve on? Come in and edit. Sometimes I find that even for me, I'm a better editor sometimes than an originator. Okay. So you have to like know who you are and know what kind of person you are. But I think there's a lot of value in A, selling your store, and B, buying a store. There's a lot there. Now, if you are going to start from scratch or you are in a position where you have one store and you want to open a second, I don't think it's a bad time to do this at all. One of the myths, and I think I've addressed this in other videos, is the idea that, oh, I just need to grow online. No, like, no. Growing online is really different. And we are seeing still that most consumers are making purchases in a store. I'll tell you, I have about 10 carts filled on my iPhone here of different pants for my daughter who just keeps growing. I still probably this afternoon will go to a store and look at them and feel them and hold them up on her because I'm not really confident in making that purchase online. So I want you to remember that opening a second location could be better than thinking, oh, I'm going to grow my first location online. It's always going to be dependent on where you are located, what opportunity you have with that second store. There's so many nuances in it, but I don't want anyone listening to be scared to open a brick and mortar. I think it's still a really good time. Of course, the numbers have to work. It has to work for you. It has to fit in your lifestyle, all of that. Okay. But I truly believe that more people are leaving social media. More women are wanting to get together. I've seen more events around town than ever before. So please, please, please consider all your options and run the numbers. And if you need help, call me, email us. I've gotten on the phone with a lot of people who I've given some really great advice to and that, you know, are able to kind of take those next steps when you feel stuck. If you're in a position though, and you've been asking questions below or you commenting, like, A, thank you so much for being here. As always, if you have a question, you can always send me an email or you can post below, post a comment down below, ask a question. We really respond to like everything. And so I don't want you to be shy. Just because you feel like you're not doing well doesn't mean that A, I judge you or B, I can't help you. Most people I get on the phone with, I can help in a significant way. And so I want to also remind you that I have a program called the Inner Circle. It's a membership program. We do weekly calls with me. The other day we had 2 people on the call for an hour. We talked back and forth. Each of their questions sort of helped the other one. They were in different stages, but they were still able to relate and we were able to have a really productive, healthy retail conversation over the course of an hour. So if you want more information about the Inner Circle, just comment circle below and we'll send you the link to learn more. We have been getting so much good feedback on my episode with Sydney from Rushmore Boutique. It's a few episodes back. We'll put the card here, but so many of you have been saying, wow, Sydney's so inspiring. Like, I love her story. I feel like I'm in her spot where she's feeling conflicted. And this leads me into my next segment called Pivot or Perish. Now, I have led so many people through pivots in their business and their life. I love transitions as hard as they are, and I love reinvention. And that's really what I think a pivot is. I think there's a lot of you out there that are feeling stuck in your boutique, in your assortment, in your pricing, in some place. And part of it is because you're scared to pivot. You're scared to say, like, you know what, that stuff doesn't really sell anymore. Maybe I need to just start fresh. Do it. Change your name. I've said to people, hey, are you really like stuck on this name? And they're like, well, you know, it's like on my sign, and it's, if it is a significant investment, okay, don't change your name, but also like maybe change your name. Like, I feel very strongly that if you think this is your career and you know you want to have a boutique for many, many years, this might be the time, if you're feeling stalled out, to make some big changes. I've talked to people in Montana, in Iowa, in, trying to think, oh, Washington, women all over. I've been telling, hey, you got to pivot. Like, I can hear it in your voice. Do you need my permission? Okay, I'm giving you permission. Let's go. Because I truly think that if you don't pivot and you don't reinvent yourself, whether it's in your business, in your life, just in like how you do things, you're going to stay stuck. Like, we are animals. We are meant to evolve. We are meant to move forward in life. And I think that in your boutique, you can get really stuck in your ways, or you can get someone's voice in your head that like is not your voice, giving you too much influence. Trust your gut. It might be time to pivot. It might be time to reinvent yourself. One of the easiest ways to perish right now. Okay, so we talked about pivoting. I want to talk about perishing. I have been seeing ads over and over for a really great company who will get rid of your excess inventory. Awesome. There's definitely a demand for that. They are supplying an awesome system to do that. In the back of my head, though, all I can think of is like, this company should not exist. We should be more sustainable in the boutique industry than saying we have $10,000 of inventory to sell off. I have $40,000 of inventory to sell off. That's just dead inventory. We can prevent this. Period. End of story. I have a business right now that's doing 6 figures a month, and she's running on 9 weeks of inventory on hand. It's a little bit scary, actually. I'm a little bit nervous. We gotta get some deliveries in. But that is the tightness that I'm talking about. If you want to run an efficient boutique, it is about dealing with your excess inventory and dealing with your inventory as it sells. Too many of you are launching new arrivals, letting them sell, and then being like, I haven't sold one of those in a few weeks. Girly, you should have marked it down 3 weeks ago, okay? Listen, I need more of you to think about markdowns. Markdowns are not sales. We have a video about this. We'll post it in the comments about markdowns versus sales. But I want to reiterate, markdowns can be your best friend. Why? Because markdowns don't look like trash on a back wall or a rack in the back, or hopefully not a rack out front unless it's like a really marked down day. But your excess inventory is a result of you not marking down stray items. Okay. So as you have new arrivals in, I really want you to start to be cognizant of what sizes aren't selling, what colors might not be selling, and go over, cross the ticket off here. I'm going to give you a pink pen. You're going to cross the ticket off, and you're going to write a new price. And that new price is going to be at least 30% lower than the original ticketed price. You're going to leave that item in its spot. You're not going to move it. The minute you move it to a different area, it is immediately devalued. When it sits amongst other full price items, it looks like a treat. Okay. So I want you to think about, do you want to give your customers treats, or do you want to give them trash on a rack in the back of the store? Okay. Treat versus trash. I just need you all to remember, we have to take markdowns. Okay. If you're not taking markdowns, you're the one having the sidewalk sale. Now, let's even avoid markdowns and sales at all. And let's go back and buy everything properly, right? So many of you might have a lot of inventory and want to change your ways. I have a program called Profit Power Tools, where I literally walk you through how to do this. We pull your sales, we analyze your sales reports, we make changes on your current inventory based on those sales reports, and then we project your buys for the next 3 to 6 months. So you buy perfectly, you sell through perfectly. You don't have to worry about sales or markdowns. Like, that is my biggest thing when people are worried about marking down too much, worried about sales. If you buy it correctly, you will never worry. Okay. So if you want to hear more about Profit Power Tools, just comment profit below. We'll send you the link there. If you have questions about markdowns, sales, also please ask those questions below. I need to make sure everyone is so clear about this. And I'm going to use my pink pen to mark all that down. I can't not talk about marketing, ads, all this stuff. We talked about markdowns and sales, but let's talk about the retail forecast, where we're going, and some marketing opportunities for you to capitalize on. I'm calling this segment Problem or Marketing Opportunity. So let's go back to the example of, we have a lot of stuff to mark down. I have a lot of stuff to put on sale. I don't want to look like I'm a discount store. I don't want to, give people the impression that I'm going out of business. Right. I get it. Another way to use your excess inventory is to offer your customers some kind of experience or event with that inventory. So let's say you have a ton of shoes left over. You know what you're going to do? You are going to host a party called If the Shoe Fits. And you are going to give everyone who tries on a shoe that loves that pair of shoes, you're going to give them 40% off that pair of shoes. You get them in the store, you get rid of some inventory, you market it in a cool way. It's not just like, oh, it's a shoe sale. It's a If the Shoe Fits sale. So much more fun, right? I have a lot of people saying, oh, my customers are really price sensitive. They either won't pay that price, and so I have to take, a hit on the margin, or they think they can go somewhere else and get it cheaper. I have heard this over and over lately. And I think instead of a problem, this is actually a marketing opportunity. Education is the way to help people understand what you're doing. We are past the days of just being like, hey, this is for sale. It's $20. Get it now. It's like, no. Have you seen this pen? This is the most incredible pen you'll ever find in your life. It writes with pure magic and a little bit of sparkle. And this pen is going to change your life, because everything you write down is going to manifest from this pen. This pen is only $257, and you can pay right now in installments. Okay, I'm exaggerating, but It's how you market the pen. It's not what you're selling. If you know what you're selling is great and it's not getting to the people that you wanted to get to, it's because you're not telling the story correctly. You're not giving it the romance language. You're not marketing it. That's marketing. Like people call social media marketing. It's different. Social media is the avenue to which you market through. The marketing piece of it is the font, it's the color, it's the language, it's the story, it's the why. It's the why do you need this? And the why do you need this can be because it's really cute and it looks really good on and it's versatile and it's different, or it's totally your style, or this is the new thing, or this is the tummy tuck thing. We have to market it in a way that makes it desirable. So many of you guys are like, I don't understand why things aren't selling. They're not selling because you're not making me want to buy it. You're not making me feel like, oh my God, I absolutely have to have that. And I'm going to tell you that the more you make your people feel like, oh my God, I absolutely have to have that, the quicker the conversion will get on it. Because instead of them overthinking it, you've really just educated, you've marketed, you told them all the reasons that they need this. And again, it doesn't have to be so deep. I want you to understand that there's more depth to the social media conversation than just like using a platform, what time to post, where to post. It's like, no, but look, what are you really saying to people? What is the call to action that you're having them do? Nicole on my team is like so good at this. She's like helping brick-and-mortar boutiques launch and get people in the door before like the first day that they're open through really call to action driven Instagram reels. She's saying, hey, this is what we do. This is where we are. Come in and shop. Like, come in and shop. And we see this work over and over. If you're in our inner circle, you've gotten trainings from Nicole. She's like incredible at this. And there is so much more work to be done on social media than just the like post at the right time. It's like, okay, yeah, like that's great. But also you have to be authentic. You have to have a message. Someone has to want to spend time listening to you. And I think that's the part that so many boutique owners miss. It's like they either talk themselves out or they talk themselves in. And I would say that like one of the biggest things I hear from especially women is just like, well, I don't want attention on myself. I don't want to seem like I want attention. It's not about you wanting attention. Okay. It's about you saying, hey, I'm here. I have this cool thing for sale. Don't you want this cool thing? It's so cute, right? If you don't tell people, if you don't show up, if you don't like, want attention, it's going to be really hard to sell stuff. And listen, that is something that we will always be dealing with. How much do I show up and how do I show up? Show up as much as you can and show up as authentically as possible. I have met so many cool people. I have so many friends in my life. And you might be a friend that I talked to one time. You might be a friend you've been following me for 10 years. You might be my best friend that lives halfway across the country. I have so many friends just because I want to show up. I want to show up for people. I want to show up for things. I want to like their posts. I had a friend text me today about pricing on this cool shirt she's making. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so cute. Show up for yourself. When you show up for yourself, when you show up for other people, it is going to build community, whether you like it or not. You don't have to be like, oh, I want to build a community. No, just show up. People want to see you. People are interested in you. Believe it or not, like people are interested in me and they'll tell me stories and I love it. I love you guys. You are so freaking cool. The fact that you care at all about me means so much to me. I care about you. And that's like, to me, all that matters. But I'll take the love too. And I think that's it. It's like I build community because I am nice and I want to help other people. That's really it. I want to let you know that the boutique calendar did drop this week kind of secretly because we kind of finished it in the middle of the night because it took forever this year because it's gorgeous. We'll post the link below and like, of course, comment calendar if you want the link to it. You can get a digital version or a printed version this year. And we made it a little easier, hopefully, for you to make sure you like order the right thing. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining me today. As always, here's to making lots of friends, making lots of money, and just crushing it in boutique land no matter what. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.